Hey, it's Todd Gross, and welcome. Tonight I have a very special guest that's going to be talking about how to get a Google News site and how that can actually put your sites up at the top of the search engines right away, even more so than the press releases that, of course, we talked about during this course of this past week. That's because there's a little bit of a difference there. Press releases have your website in them, but what if you could get your actual site in just minutes to the very top of the search engines, and even faster and even higher? It's the natural next step from issuing press releases. It's a little bit harder to do, but when you have an expert on your side, it's going to be one step easier. And that's where Austin Lilley comes in. Austin is a student down in Texas. Basically, he has been into internet marketing for a few years now. But when he first stumbled across the block, that is, not being able to get above the Google News sites, he started to learn how to apply and get a Google News site so that he could always be on top, even with something like iPhone 5, which he has ranked all the way to the top for. Well, he's here tonight, and he's going to explain much more about how this works. Hey, Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started and how you started to get involved with the Google News sites themselves?
Absolutely. I started Google News after seeing the Google News area pop up on different organic searches. And I noticed that no matter how hard I worked, I couldn't outrank it. And it started really frustrating me. So I did some research and I found out that there's this thing called Google News, which Google owns. And basically it gives any site that's in Google News automatic authority to rank on top of page one and get the exposure for just about any keyword they want. I built my first site and got it into Google News within 2 weeks and went on to sell that very first site for quite a bit of money, $5,200 without a single cent of revenue being shown.
That's pretty interesting. Well, can you explain? I mean, I've sort of touched on it, but could you highlight the differences between our press release traffic code, which talked about getting pretty quick rankings? I mean, under an hour for certain niches. And the differences between putting a press release out and getting it ranked and having a Google News site and getting that ranked. What's the difference? Because in both cases, you're releasing some information one way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. So the very first thing is Google News, when you rank for any keyword, the user is being directly exposed to your website. They don't have to go to the press release and then go to your site if they choose to go to your site after reading the press release. The next thing is that it ranks higher and actually quicker than a press release because you don't have to do any kind of backlinking, any kind of syndication. You just simply publish, and literally within, usually a couple minutes at max, you're on top for whatever keyword it is you're targeting. And not only that, but Google News also has a section in the search results where they show up within the organic results, but they have their own spot reserved at the top. That's usually denoted by saying news for and then whatever keyword it is.
Is that above the regular organic results?
Correct. Yep. For the keywords that the news platform shows for, it's generally above the organic results and directly below AdWords.
I was going to ask if it's above or below AdWords.
Yep. And then the other great thing about that is not only are you showing up in the organic web results, but you also are showing up in the news results. So some people don't really like to search Google for, websites. They search for the current events, the current news on specific things. So you almost get a double exposure, if you will, to the organic, people hunting for the literal iPhone 5 or whatever keyword. And you also get the people who generally just want to learn information about the iPhone 5, maybe when it's releasing, whatever it is.
Well, it's funny you should mention the iPhone 5 because didn't you have an iPhone 5 Google News site?
Yep. Used it to rank on top for iPhone 5, and it worked really well.
Is that the one that you sold, that you flipped for $5,200? Is that another one?
Yep. Yeah, it's the one that I sold for $5,200. and use that one to publish, quite a bunch of stuff. I tested it out with mesothelioma, iPad 3, all kinds of cool terms just to see what a Google News site was physically capable of.
So in other words, I'm not quite clear how that works. I mean, it's an iPhone 5. Did it have iPhone 5 in the actual name of the site, or?
No, it was just an article I posted on it. So the Google News site itself was just kind of a general site, a general news site. And, my article I published was about the iPhone release date. And because it had iPhone 5 release date in the title, and that was like the topics talked about, that's what caused it to rank for that term.
And that was on page 1, you said?
Yep.
Now, being that it was a Google News site, was that at the top of page 1?
Yep. If you go to iPhone 5 right now, you can see that searching that, you show up right above the organic results, and the Google News itself looks like it has, 3 or 4 spots reserved on page 1 automatically.
For iPhone 5?
Yep.
So it will be in one of those 3 or 4 spots at the very top.
Correct.
Gotcha. Now, you didn't keep that because you wanted to sell it. Now, what was the other one, the other niche that you were in, that you were able to sell?
I've sold a variety of them. They've gone, from entertainment type stuff, mesothelioma. So I published stuff on, that kind of stuff. And basically my goal with that was to be able to test the different CPC possibilities and, figure out just what the limit of Google News was for it as far as terms. So like with the Google News, you can have a general site. You're not confined to any certain category. So you can own a general news site, and that same site can talk about, weight loss, finance, iPhone 5 and technology, health, politics. With the 2012 election coming up right now, if you use this to get into Google News, I can only imagine the traffic that you're going to be able to generate.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you could actually approach different niches in the same news site. So it's not like for each niche that you have to get another news site. But you had several concurrently. Now, the reason that you don't now is because you realized you could sell these things.
Right.
So you actually sold them and made a lot of money. But and you're continuing at the same time now to get even more. So would you suggest that somebody have more than one in every case, or one is enough, or what would you suggest?
I definitely think it really depends on what your goal is with them. The reason I just had one to start out was because I just wanted to see if I could even get into Google News. I didn't know anything about it other than I saw it virtually appearing on top of page 1 for almost everything I searched.
So therefore you said, why don't I get in on this?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I want a piece of that. So, it really depends. Right now I've started working on multiples simply so that I can flip them and sell them. And really what's great about that is a lot of these people who like to buy these Google News sites own, news networks. So what happens is you sell your first one, and if it's a quality site, which, if you follow my guidelines, it's going to be a quality site. I'm teaching you how to make quality long-term stuff, not quick, rank tank, all that kind of stuff. So if you sell these sites, a lot of these guys will want to work with you privately to keep buying them from you because they don't want to take the time to get these sites into Google News. So really, by selling the first one, I looked out and, kind of built a long-term stream. I just contact, my previous buyer whenever I have a Google News site and I'm like, hey, do you want to buy this? I don't want to own it anymore, and work out a price.
Yeah, well, we're getting around to the dicey question, and that is, why doesn't everybody have one of these if they're so effective? And I kind of know the answer to that. I've been following this for over a year now, but why don't you tell everyone why not everybody has this?
Well, it's one of those things that it's extremely, extremely beneficial to have, but, the simplest way to put it is people are lazy. And we all know that if you're a lazy person, you're not really going to get anywhere. So, people start looking at that. They start looking at, oh, this is awesome, but they're not dedicated enough to stick it out. So they start building them, or they start researching what it takes, and they just give up. And so that deters a lot of people, and it also keeps it from getting saturated. You're not going to be, everyone next to you is going to be scared off because they don't want to put in that work. So,
well, that leads us to the question about how you're going to help simplify it with your brand new product, which is G News Profits. And that, of course, is just being released. Right after we're done, Austin, I'm going to discuss with my subscribers that are here how they can get in on G News Profits early at a special price, or at least the lowest possible price. We're going to be discussing that as soon as I let you go. But tell me what you've got here with G News Profits and how this may help folks get a Google News site.
Absolutely. So the front end offer is a 36-page PDF, and that goes over all the details that I've learned over the years. Well, not over the years, but over the submission time of working with multiple sites of my own and of clients, because I do consulting for Google News, people wanting to get into Google News as well. And I've also got over-the-shoulder submission video, so you can see exactly how I personally submit to Google News, and to make sure you're doing it correctly. So the PDF walks you through the guidelines that Google recommends, and I also put my own twist on those to go into a little bit more detail as far as what I've noticed them to mean, because we all know that they're not always going to be up front. There's hidden things they look for. And you really only get those kind of details from someone who's actually done it and done it multiple times, which is, exactly what I'm bringing to the table. I also recommend plugins for them to use, different volumes of content, different kinds of content, exactly what kind of categories for their new site. You name it, pretty much everything to get someone started into Google News is in this guide. And it's something I wish I had when I started. Mine took a lot of digging and mismatching and testing and, just kind of not sleeping at night hoping I would get in. So this kind of resource is, definitely something to really appreciate as someone who wants to take advantage of what Google News has to offer.
Okay, so in terms of what you offer, you seem to have at least two components here, and that is the 36-page ebook, and then you have the over-the-shoulder video showing how you actually submit. And then there's a third item. What was that again?
The third item is a Flippa selling template. And so basically that is the exact template I used to sell my site for $5,200. And that is for the buyers of this product only to be able to use and hopefully sell their Google News site for, similar amounts.
That's great. So you have another source of income in that you could turn around and flip it. You said that you were able to flip your site without even having any what was it? No income from it.
It was no posted revenue. So, and then I've also got a cheat sheet in there for y'all to go over when right before you're listing your Google News site, because although the PDF gives you a lot of details, it is 36 pages, so it's easy to get in the moment of reading and not realize that you should necessarily take notes on a certain part. So I've got a cheat sheet in there too that they can print out and go over and make sure that all the important details are met prior to submitting.
Is the cheat sheet in the ebook or is it separate?
It's separate, yep.
So it's actually a fourth component?
Correct, yep.
Ah, very good. Now, to monetize your sites, I mean, you bring people in there, but to monetize your sites, I understand when you said mesothelioma, that's an extremely lucrative click rate. Like, what's it called? When you have an AdSense ad, for instance, and they click on your ad about mesothelioma, it's like a very high amount of income just from that one click, isn't it?
Yep. I think mesothelioma, last time I checked, was around 79 cents is what the advertisers were paying for it. per
79,
click.
79 cents, $79.
Or $79, I'm sorry.
79 cents would be a
$79.
bargain, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the advertisers pay 79, but there's a discrepancy between what the advertisers pay and what the AdSense receiver gets. So roughly what would somebody who was receiving money off the click, I mean, I understand it varies, but what would they get for something like that?
I think it's usually like, what is it? 68%, I think, or something like that, that the publisher makes off of a click, or at least that's the rumored amount that Google has said. So, it comes out to be still over like $40 a click.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so if it's $79, that's still going to be 40 even if it's half.
Yeah, which, what's funny about that is that's as much or maybe more than some of these AdSense people are making on a site in a month. So.
Just from one click. That's interesting. And there's other ways to monetize it too. Now, you and I had a discussion earlier before we, were actually discussing this on camera. And you mentioned, I think Amazon was one of your favorites. And then we started to talk about CPA. Would you recommend CPA on the sites?
I think the most effective way to do advertising on these sites is to do it all. CPA can work great, ClickBank and that sort of thing. So if you're publishing articles on finance, there's tons of ClickBank products on Forex and finance related stuff for stock trading and all that. So you can definitely use those kinds of ads. Again, CPC for AdSense is huge on those because whatever you're publishing an article on, the AdSense will find ads relevant to that article. So if you're publishing in finance, we all know finance is pretty lucrative. So it's really unlimited as far as the different types of advertising you can use.
Okay, so just to review that would be CPA, ClickBank, Amazon, and AdSense right off the bat. There's four that I can think of right off the bat. And you're suggesting that we pull from various different sources and mix it up.
Yeah. With my experience, I'd say that typically there's people who may want to click on an AdSense ad or click on an ad, but wouldn't buy through the CPA, the ClickBank link. So if you're using AdSense and the ClickBank link, you're able to capitalize on extra income that you may be missing otherwise.
Now, ironically, apparently you told me, again, off the cuff earlier, that you can we're not talking about submitting press releases like the people who purchased press release traffic code, but you're talking about actually receiving press releases from people. You could charge for that service. Is that true?
Yep. Google News allows you to set up a press release section in your news site. It's separate from the Google News part, the news part that you submit, but you're allowed a press release section. You just have to notify them that it's a press release section. And so on these various, internet marketing forums and stuff, you'll see people selling Google News press releases, and they sell them for like $50 to, I've seen up to like $97, I think, for a submission. So, now once you get into Google News, you can use the press releases to syndicate your own sites out, just like you would be doing with your product, or you can, potentially even sell press release slots. So you could either write the press releases for the people, or you could have them submit press releases to you.
Okay, so you actually went one step beyond me just now. What you said sounds like it holds a huge amount of potential. So let's just slow down and rewind for a second. You could charge people to put press releases on your site. Their press releases will get onto page one even more quickly than they would have going to just a typical press release submission site. And that's because now they're going to be above everybody else. Number one, they're going to be above everyone else, meaning they're going to be in that little news section at the very top that you're referring to. But in addition, are you saying that it would be more effective for them to submit the press release to your Google News site than a regular paid press release submission site?
Yeah, it's just kind of an extra thing. A lot of people are scared off from the big press release sites because they either cost a lot or they've found that they're just not really effective. But with Google News, there's tons of sites that are sharing and syndicating the content that you publish on these Google News sites. So they're extremely attractive to people wanting to publish their press releases.
It's funny because you gave me an idea here to ask you about the difficulty of the keyword. Like, for instance, when we were doing the press releases, we would do something like quality green screen backgrounds. We had no trouble with that. That would just post in 2 hours. The difficulty was, and we did get traffic from it, but the difficulty was, number one, they had to go in to the press release and then click on the website itself. And in this case, it's the website itself that's up there. But the second difficulty we had was, as we narrowed that down and made that a less long-tailed keyword and just wrote green screen backgrounds, we were able to get high on Bing and Yahoo, but we weren't able to get high on Google when we started doing that. With what you're telling me with Google News sites, it seems to me that you're saying that you could use tougher keywords. And a lot of people that's really important to. So could you explain to me how you know how tough the keywords could be with a Google News site?
Well, Google News, when it's showing in the search engine, it usually publishes the most recent article on that topic. So, for instance, if you go to iPhone 5 real quick, you'll see that the top article shown was 1 hour ago, all the way down to 10 hours ago is the furthest away one. So it ranks by the most recent submission that's also the most relevant.
So that's why you're so confident that you could get at the top of page one so quickly, because you just have to be the latest one to do it.
Yeah. And for iPhone 5, I know it's over 1 million local exact searches it gets per month. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, you're the most recent publisher on iPhone 5. You're going to be at the top when those people are searching for it.
Wow. That's actually pretty outrageous. It just feels so powerful, like you're godlike or something, to be able to do that. That is very cool.
It's something else when you see your little site ranking right next to USA Today and that sort of thing.
All right, very good. Now, the second thing that we glossed over, and I tried to rewind on, is you said that you can issue press releases. You were saying about your site, or what you were saying, there's another way to do press releases through Google News, not accepting them in, but actually doing them and sending them out or something. What were you trying to say there?
You mean as far as selling the press releases for that sort of thing, for selling for other people come to you? That
was one, and then there was another way that you mentioned.
If you are publishing your own,
yes,
it gets picked up. So if you have a site on, let's say, lawnmowers or something like that, you can create a press release to it and leverage your Google News site to get your other site visibility.
Oh. So give us an example of a topic where you would do that.
It could be anything. So if you own an e-commerce store, you could say ecommercestore.com has just picked up new product A. Check it out. Obviously expand on that, but that's an example of it. Or you could say, just founded lawnmowercare.com, and give some details about the site and that sort of thing.
Wow. And that's going to then bring them to your site about the e-commerce, about the lawnmower, whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's all kind of interconnected. I like that. That's very cool. So there's two specific ways that you could do that. And that also would go in the press release section.
Yep. You just include that in the press release section.
Okay, now, a lot of folks are going to say, is there a one-time offer to this? What is that, if there is one?
Yeah, we've actually built a totally custom, unique WordPress theme specifically for this product, and it's a new style theme. And basically how that works is right now, when you look around for news themes, I think there's only about 4 or 5 that are generally used when people are applying to Google News. And, Google's used to seeing those same sites over and over. And so when you get used to seeing a site, it's only logic. When you get used to seeing a site over and over with the exact same design, you begin to discredit it and, wonder kind of what's up with it. And so this theme is never being released again. It's never been released before. And it kind of gives Google News, the team, a completely fresh look, I guess, into a site. So when you're submitting your site, they haven't seen it before. It's totally new to them. So it's not being discredited right away.
And you're saying that you think that even despite the fact that you're selling this product about getting a Google News site, that there's plenty of room and that at least at first this is going to look very fresh, this particular theme.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people are going to get lazy and not do these specific steps that you tell them to do. Let's be honest. This is not as easy as just putting out a press release like in my product, the one that
Right.
I launched with Shannon Murphy and Prashant Sharma. This is more difficult than that,
Right.
even though it's achievable. So you think this is really achievable with your instructions, but because it's a little more difficult, it's going to discourage some people.
Correct. Yep. And so that is going to prevent this theme from getting saturated. And also, this theme's not being sold up on the open to every Joe Blow who wants it. The buyers of this product are going to be the only ones getting it. And so, that's a very finite amount. So,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Now, there's something else that you have. Don't you have like a developer's license that goes along with that upsell?
Yep. Yep. The theme is going to come with a developer's license. So you are going to be able to use it on whatever sites you want, of yours as well as other businesses.
Now, that's really cool. We were discussing this off the cuff earlier as well, that you can literally go to another business that does not want to do this all on their own, and you can then go and form this Google News site for them for a hefty fee.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I actually do Google News consulting, and I charge $750 one-time fee. So yeah, with this theme and the instructions that you're getting in the Google News Profits, you can totally go out and do this exact same thing. You've got the unique theme that no one else is going to have, and you've got the experience and the exact steps you need to get into Google News. So it's just another way to spin this product and make a huge revenue stream out of it.
Yeah, because you've got the monetization, you've got the chance of flipping the product, you have the chance of actually going to a business and helping that business, online or offline, helping that business do that, produce a Google News site, which is really cool. That's really more online than offline. Now I'm thinking out loud here, because you're going to a business and saying, here, this is your new online endeavor. We're going to get you a Google News site. And
well, the press release, like the theme itself, yeah, is more online, but the press releases, if you do offline, you can actually use those for your offline clients, for citations and that sort of thing. So, you could even wrap this into offline.
Can you explain just briefly what citations are?
Right. So, citations for an offline client is basically their business being noted for around the web and that sort of thing. So, their address, phone number, name, that sort of thing. So what that's going to do is, you can then go and sell, I guess if you wanted to, a PR package to offline businesses, and write a press release about their offline business and push it through your Google News press release area with their address and that sort of thing.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, you can really spin Google News just about to any.
Now, are folks going to have trouble getting approved? Are you kind of making this bulletproof, or is there still some question mark whether they can get approved? How does that work?
Yeah, so, obviously I can't guarantee it because I don't, I'm not going to act like there's not a margin for error. But I've gone through and done everything that I possibly can and everything that I've experienced and tested to fully maximize the ability to get into Google News. There's certain tips and tricks, such as publishing a local area specifically. So like for me, I live right outside Houston, and I publish content on my local area specifically for the Houston area. And how that works is, there's really not a ton of local newspapers for all around the world. So like if you are submitting to Google News, they don't really have a whole bunch of Google News that they can show for your local area specifically. So that gives you an optimum chance of getting in because they want more news related to your local area. And there's also, a couple other different steps that I've learned that aren't exactly publicly talked about to help you out and maximize your chance of getting in.
Wow. All right. This is really wild stuff. I've got to get one of these one way or another, even if I have to go out and buy one, from you. I'm going to have to get one of these Google News sites. Very, very cool. Just as a summary, your G News Profits includes 4 elements. I thought it was 3. The 4 elements are, number 1, the 36-page ebook. Number 2, you have the over-the-shoulder look, the video, at what you're doing to submit your site. Number 3, let's see if I can remember. You have a quick start cheat sheet that's going to summarize what's in your 36-page ebook. And then number 4 is the Flippa Guide, which is going to teach folks how to make money by selling their site once it's up and running.
Yep. And I've also, inside the PDF, I've also got a way that they can continue to make money from the buyer of their Google News site.
Whoa. Really?
Yep.
So even after you sell it, you could still make money?
Yep.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Don't tell me any more. Well, that's intriguing. All right, and you're releasing this at a low cost, but you say it's on a dime sale. So the initial cost is
$12. We're going to be the front end's going from a $12 to $17 dime sale.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is when we end this interview, I'm going to chat with you and chat with my folks, chat with you on the side and chat with my people here. And we're going to try to get them in at the lowest possible price one way or another. So for everybody watching, if you just hold on until the end, we're going to work something out so that you could get this at the lowest possible price. And let's see what we could work out with Austin. I'll try to do that offline, and then I'll come right back to you, and we will talk about you getting in at that price so that they could get, of course, the next step beyond press releases and get their own credible Google News site, which seems to have a whole lot more avenues to make money from. And I'm really impressed, and congratulations to you at such a young age. You're in college, I think you said.
Yep.
And you're going to be a senior, is that it?
I'm a senior right now. I'm in my final summer course, and I graduate in 2 weeks.
Aha. And then you're doing internet marketing full-time at that point. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And are you going to use this as the crux of your business, the Google News?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love Google News. I actually have 2 sites pending right now. So
very, very good.
This is stuff that I'm still using, so obviously still works.
Wow. Thanks again, Austin, for being here with us and explaining G News Profits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to the release. I already have my own copy. I've already looked through it. Very impressive. I may lean on you a little bit to consult with me. And everybody else, hang on, and we'll discuss how to get this in just a moment. Hang in there for a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I have gotten a great deal out of Austin, and I did really just negotiate it at the end of that interview. And in addition, I've actually twisted his arm, and I'm getting a great bonus for you as well. Now, when you hear that expression, twisted his arm, usually people are making that up, but I really did kind of twist his arm on this. I mean, I really did negotiate on your behalf a great deal. Now, here's the thing. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, this goes out the window because he's launching officially on the Warrior Forum, and he's using JVZoo as his payment processor, and he's putting those together at 3 o'clock with affiliates, and he has to go from that $12 to $17 price So what I'm about to tell you, of course, below that, and he also has to take his $28 one-time offer, the theme with developer's license, and he's going to bring that up in a dime sale as well. So that's way above what I negotiated for the theme and developer's license, so that you will be able to go to businesses and, of course, set them up with a Google News site and make a lot of money for that. Okay, so here's the deal. $9.95 for that base package. That's the four components. That's the ebook, right? That's the cheat sheet. That's the flip a guide and the over-the-shoulder look. That's a video, of course. And then for the upsell, the one-time offer, only $19.95 for the Google News site itself, the actual theme that you're going to use, and the developer's license combined so that you can go to businesses. And we're going to throw in my bonus that I got from him, which is, you ready? An actual live webinar with Austin himself in the middle of August. And what's so cool about that is he'll not only answer your questions, but he'll help you if you've run into any stumbling blocks. So he'll give you guidance on getting the Google News site, and he's going to answer questions that you may have. That mid-August interview is going to be fabulous. It's going to be in a go-to-webinar setting. And, please, even if you just pick up the base offer for this so that you can learn how to get a Google News site, make sure you attend that webinar so that you can get it straight from the horse's mouth, how to really optimize your Google News site. Here's what you need to do next. This goes away, as I mentioned, 3 o'clock in the afternoon Tuesday. So I want you to head over to the page, the actual special page that explains this deal, and that is just by clicking the link below or clicking the video box off. I'm going to have this video in two separate places. You either do one or the other, and then you will go straight to the special page that we made, and on that special page you'll be able to secure this deal. So go now. Make sure you do it before 3 o'clock on Tuesday, and in fact, I suggest you do it right now because we are limiting this to only 100 people. So you want to do that as soon as possible. Thanks again for, watching the interview and being part of this excitement, the press releases and the Google News site. Really amazing stuff coming up the last couple of weeks in terms of getting up to the top of the search engine rankings. Thanks for joining me and being part of all this. Have a great day and head down there, click the link or close the video box and head over right now.